What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here. We got a new rank 1 in town, and it is Setsuko, 606 LP, one of the only 2 people on the server who has hit Challenger. I guess Spencer and Kurum Business Account, who's Kurum Business Account, are also technically above the cutoff for Challenger. But right now, Setsuko's rank 1, and look, if you guys don't know Setsuko, I mean, you probably don't follow that much competitive TFT, but he is one of the most accomplished TFT players of all time. Always, always, always at the top of the ladder. And so I feel like we have to VOD review him. Also, can I get this quality up to 1080p? Thank you. That's much better, much crisper. But yeah, it's mandatory. When Setsuko is doing well, you have to VOD review him because he is the best at win streaking, the best at capping out his board late game. He's the best at this like fast 9, fast 8 type playstyle. And that's something that is in some ways a huge part of this meta, and in other ways not. I like this buy here. Yeah, I do love holding onto the Zyra pair here. He's really looking for the units that pair very well with Step, the Maddie and the Trundle. His name starts with a T. The Maddie Trundle is like a really solid opener. Obviously, just fill out the synergies with this guy. We do have a Sunfire as a slam here, which I fully expect to see slammed here, but we'll see here. Whoa! Setsi, we're a bit too fast on these augments. He's a speed demon in all things. So let's look at these. But yeah, I mean, investment strategy one for all. Not very much Setsuko style whatsoever. You got to reroll with both of these augments, so he's not interested in that whatsoever. So rerolls both of these, and then the second he sees all the chimmers, I think this makes perfect sense as an augment pickup. Yeah, so the thought process I would think is that you take Mogul's Mail here. You make it's either a Sunfire or a Steadfast. Steadfast does make you tankier and leaves the door open to something like a Steadfast into a Warmogs, and then you have a really tanky Stead that's farming 1 billion gold. So I think that's what I would go for here, but we'll see. Sunfire does give you potentially better components open, but yeah, have to imagine the pickup is Mogul's Mail here with the Steb too, that we can play around. Can do a quick scout. Ooh, so Setsuko makes it interesting. He called in chat. You might not be able to see it that well, but he called in chat Kokmaw, which maybe makes me think he's gonna play he's thinking of playing Kog'Maw from this spot, and he is gonna take Gambler's Blade, and the idea being we're gonna hard force Kog'Maw from here. Ooh, this is also a really cool setup. So you would think strongest board here, perhaps you end up playing like these Conqueror units on the board. They're very solid, and Draven, he likes an attack speed stim. But no, we're actually gonna go Gambler's Blade Lux here, and the idea being we can just play for an infinitely long early fight, farm up as many Gambler's Blade stacks as possible, and just play for really long early game fights with a 2-star front line, and this Lux. This is actually such a cool idea, but it reminds me actually of when we VOD reviewed some other players who played around. I forget which player it was that was doing the Mogul's Mail setup. Kind of similar, where he played around Lux to make Mogul's Mail last really long and get a lot of gold farmed. So Lux with gold gen artifacts, it makes a lot of sense. Also interesting, the immediate sale of the Steb here with the idea that, yeah, we'd rather play around Amumu. Amumu is just a more tanky unit, and he gets more value out of these shields, I guess, because of the fact that he gets that damage reduction. And the idea being, who really cares about playing 2 mage here? You don't need damage on this board. What you want is just to be as tanky as possible. This is a cool idea out of Setsuko. And he did call Kog'Maw, which also kind of leans the idea towards playing like a Warden setup here. He wants to play for, or Watcher, sorry. I feel like I call him Warden a lot, which is, that's the old trait, right? There's no Warden in this set. But okay. Picks up the Swain here. Immediately gonna move items over to Swain. I'm actually a little surprised by this. In my experience, Swain is, I don't know. He's a very interesting unit because he can just kill the entire board, but he also has the possibility of just killing nobody, exactly like he's doing here. Yeah, just spreading out damage really well. I'm actually quite surprised that he moved items over to Swain when the idea is he could have played Swain and Lux here, gotten all of these same traits and kept Sorkin. Item-wise here, if you're playing Kog'Maw, I think you have to take a Rod here. Belt does finish Warmogs off, but if you're playing Kog'Maw, I think it has to be Rod in this spot. And yeah, okay, it is going to be a Rod. Makes perfect sense. Kog'Maw, it is pretty much mandatory to go Archangels and Gunblade, and we have neither of those right now. We have the attack speed item, but we need to get those. It's interesting, though, that Setsuko thinks of this comp so highly that he would essentially say that he's going to hard force it from this spot. Ooh, this is a cool play as well. Use the remover actually to hold on to a Mumu pair here. You spend a remover, but you get to hold on to a Mumu pair, which is, I mean, it's very, very relevant in a spot like this. And he even opts to move the Draven up here just to buy a little bit more time for the Swain to give him more time to get those auto attacks off. This is a cool setup. And obviously the 4 Conqueror, really, really nice to get in here. Makes you stack it up way, way, way faster. Even though we're on potentially a 4 loss streak here. Yeah, we got to make sure we lose this last fight. And he immediately starts scouting around all these boards because Casper is on quite a loss streak here. Setsuko is very, very good at ensuring that he lost streaks, but I mean, he has a remover. He could remove stuff. He's holding this Lux to potentially play like Lux Zeri on the board. The idea being, yep, just like this. Love this, just to make sure that we lose this fight. Though we fight Casper, and Casper also opened for us. Oh, this is so, so tragic here, actually. I mean, Camille's a solid unit, but I mean, it's actually surprisingly close. Camille cast, auto. Oh my god. So close. I mean, Setsuko did his best to int here. This was a beautiful int out of him. And honestly, I mean, Casper did a great job to anti-int here. This is just top level TFT. You'll love to watch. It's so tragic for Setsuko there because if he just had a slightly weaker board, I mean, there's not more that he could have done. He made the weakest possible board and positioned for it, but it's just that, you know, Casper's board was even weaker, which is just quite tragic here. Okay, another rod here. Quite good. And the Gunblade. Wow. So we're on our way to fantastic Kog'Maw items. We have the Gunblade. We have half of Archangels. And you could even slam a Sunfire, yeah, if you want to. And yeah, just have all the items slammed here. And Setsuko is someone who loves to make slams. So I could see it. Also, the Vlad fits perfectly on this board. He's looking at Deathcap Slam. Interesting. That would make me think he's not angling towards Kog'Maw here. Because if you want to play Kog'Maw, Gunblade is certainly the slam. And yeah, Deathcap here. Interesting. I mean, he hasn't seen a single Kog'Maw this game. So maybe the idea is at this point where we're going to make Deathcap and play some other kind of like fast 8 type comp. Or maybe he really thinks Deathcap is better here than on Kog'Maw. That would surprise me, but we'll see. And no, I mean, he sells the Amumu at this point. So yeah, he's not thinking of that. I mean, Noxian Guillotine is a cool idea, but that means you're forced to play around Conquerors this game. And I don't know how you're going to make that work. I mean, Little Buddy's a great augment late game, but not amazing right now. I mean, it's absolutely horrible right now. So yeah, he's just gonna split it down the middle, go for the Crown Guarded here. It's a 3rd tank item onto the Rel, and we have to level up here, get Sentinel in. This looks pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I think this makes sense from his perspective of the, like, yeah, neither of the other augments really just make sense. So Crown Guarded, at least it gives you a tank item, and the 3rd tank item is the most important, right? Every item that you take in TFT scales to the other items that you've slammed already, and so having a 3rd tank item, you're having this extra shield that is going to scale with the extra resists and damage reduction from Steadfast Heart is really good. It's going to make your Sunfire last longer, so it's perfect. But yeah, I mean, the Swain's doing okay. I mean, the upside is also we're getting a good amount of Conqueror stacks. We're almost to that 35 2-star 2 costs, which will be a nice little boost to our econ. And yeah, we're quite rich. Say what you will about Setsuko, he's a rich guy in every game of TFT that he plays because he knows how to make his econ and he knows how to play a strong board with a little bit of gold. You know, this is a very, very cheap board. You have 1 2-star unit and 2 costs and a 3 costs here. So, you know, his entire board is worth what is that, like 14 gold, was it? Quite cheap. So yeah, overall, and that's an important skill, I would say, in TFT. Sword Open here, I mean, I have to imagine if he wants to play just generic AP stuff, he's gonna take the Shojin. It is on. There's also the Garen, I guess, is the thing. And yeah, he opts to grab the Garen at the last second. This is looking like Black Rose Watcher, Black Rose like Garen Frontline Flex, the tech that we've talked about before. This is, I would say, if that's what we end up playing this game, the highest cap comp in the game. This is, and it seems right up Setsuko's alley. I will also say this is kind of what I wanted to VOD review from YBY1 if we end up playing that, is this Black Rose tech. You know, it's the one that we VOD reviewed a few days ago, but just getting more reps on this tech I think is really, really valuable. Like understanding the ins and outs of how to play it, the flexible, like different boards that you can play. Because Black Rose, I would say, is the most flexible board in the game. It's a really, really cool option because, you know, you have the possibility of flexing around Elise is your backline, who's, you know, definitely weaker now, but, you know, if you hit an Elise 2, it's an Elise 2. You can flex Elise, you can flex Heimerdinger, you can flex what's his name, Silco, and then frontlines. A lot of people play around Garen, but there's the Mundo frontline that you can play around as well. There's just so much stuff, and obviously if you hit like a random Hyrule Malzahar or LeBlanc, those can end up going on your board. So yeah, there's just so many units that you can flex onto this board. So I don't know, I'm hyped to see if this is what Setsuko plays, because it seems right up his alley. And I mean, 75 gold here. I mean, he can just pre-level at this point, right? I'm actually shocked that he's not pre-leveling. I don't know. Oh, because wait, no, this. This version, the augment does give you the 70 gold of interest, or I always forget because the prismatic, it looks like he's staying above 70. So yeah, this is the one that gives you the 70 interest gold. Because yeah, it's so like well, I guess the prismatic one doesn't exist anymore, I think. So we just have this version that gives you the 70 gold of interest. I'm pretty sure the gold version does, but yeah, okay. Gonna bench the Swain here for whatever reason. The idea being, I guess we could just sell it to make 70 and play this this board for now. This 3 Academy is actually nice. I mean, it would be crazy if you ended up playing around Academy or something, but we'll see. The only concern is, oh, and itemization wise here. So we have the Shiv for now. The Shiv's going to go away when we end up taking out Academy, and I don't imagine we're going to keep Academy in forever. We already have the heal cut made, so we don't need anything like a Morello's. We have Nashor's Tooth, I guess, would be an idea, though it's like double attack speed, but I don't know, maybe Nashor's Tooth is, because like if you are making Nashor's, I'm not really sure what we're building out of some of these components. Okay, he's looking at belt. Yeah, I mean, I think Spark is a pretty reasonable. Setsuko's getting a little bit dizzy on these items here because they're very odd. We already have heal cut made, so the belt is pretty low value. We could make Spark, but then that kind of turns off the bow as a component here, because then you can't make Shiv. Then you're stuck making like a GS or something. It's like Spark GS, but then you're left with essentially Morello open, and you don't really want to send Morello here. These are awkward items. Bronze for Life, Duo Q, Bulky Buddies. I mean, maybe there's some kind of Bronze for Life board that plays a lot of traits. I'm pretty sure when you play Black Rose, you're actually not playing that many traits. Usually you're defaulting to like 4 Black Rose, 4 Sentinel, which is not Sentinel. Wait, Sentinel? Visionary. So yeah, this is not usually what you're playing for. Duo Q seems very upset to go to Ali. I feel like he loves this augment. But ooh, he's looking at just the Bulky Buddies here. Just a solid combat augment in this spot. Okay. We're gonna roll down here. Here's the flex roll down. Pick up a LeBlanc. There is a Elise as well, who's fantastic on this board, of course. Right now, we're just fitting the LeBlanc in here. Another Silco here. So Silco paired up. He didn't actually hold the Mundo, and oh no, he did hold the Mundo. Okay, yeah. I mean, I was about to say I'm surprised, but Setsuko's a beast, so of course he did. Holds the Mundo. Gets Dominator in. Actually, without the Mundo, he's got the Cassiopeia in for Dominator. Gonna make the Onyx Spark. The Nashers, like we talked about. And okay. Great. I mean, a beautiful flex roll down. And the question now is, what are we going to do with this Mundo? Are we going to play 4 Dominator? I mean, yeah, I guess you don't really need the Mundo. I mean, he does get in as a Dominator. Right now, we still have this Ezreal on our board who's just in for fun, right? You don't necessarily need him on the board at all. He also does pick up the Blitzcrank. Maybe it is going to be a 4 Dominator board. You'd have to cut the Garen at that point, which I don't know if that's what he wants to do. He's just going to fit in Swain onto this board. Swain is another Sork, which we don't really care about, but the big thing is that he's form swapper. Swain tends to fit very nicely onto these boards just because you're always playing around Elise. And also just Swain too sitting on your front line. Actually really smart from Setsuko to hold onto that Swain pair, with the idea being now we actually just have good front line. Yeah, a beautiful flex roll down from Setsuko, and now he's looking like he's in a really good spot. Also, still holding on to Heimerdinger for now. I wonder if he ever gets, interested in selling that, but we'll see. Item on carousel here. We have sword and rod open here. I imagine it's just going to be a Shojin if he can grab it. I think he did get that. You would really like to get Shojin onto this Silco. I imagine we're going to just move Gambler's Blade over to LeBlanc, but we'll see here. That makes the most sense to me. It's just Gambler's Blade is like the least strong item at this point. Yep. So just throw that over to LeBlanc. Your main carry is the Silco here. So this is cool. We're playing a Silco game. I think Silco is often maligned carry. I think a lot of people early on at the set were like, the Silco unit is just trash outside of like very specific setups. But this is like a setup where you can thrive. Just 5 Black Rose, you get a lot of extra frontline out of it. We don't have to play the Visionaries really, because I mean, we're not playing around a Visionary carry, we're just playing around the Silco. And Silco still doing a lot of damage here, and we found the Silco 2 on the roll down, so why not play it? Yeah, surprised he didn't actually sell the Corki there. Is this good on Silco? I'm down for Setsuko to take me to school here. Is Killstreak Silco good and you just have him infinitely casting? It looks like he's at least considering it a lot, so it must be at least decent. I know, remember when we did this VOD review for this comp, the person that we VOD reviewed was saying that they essentially always go for like the HP onto Garen, but we have Silco 2 here, so I imagine we're gonna take something for Silco, and we're not Garen paired at all. So I imagine we'll take some kind of Silco, and yeah, he does just grab this here, says, you know what, good enough. There is also the Muerto Kaiser here, tends to be a unit that people really like to play in this comp because he's an extra Dominator on the board, but there's not much you can swap out, right? I mean, maybe if we hit a, yeah, he's considering the idea like, okay, I could play it just over the Garen. I don't think it's good yet. If you hit a Elise 2, I would definitely play it over the Garen, but we'll see. Obviously, we would get the Conqueror in with the Swain. It's another Dominator, so on 9 we could be playing 4 Dominator, which is, I mean, it's something, I guess. But okay, we're continuing to win fights, which is Always good to win fights in TFT. Write that one down if you're taking notes on during the video. Pick up another Silco here as well with the idea of maybe a Silco 3 like type deal. I mean, it's a cool idea. I like the possibility of it. But yeah, we've come across a very nice board. This board is so fun. I feel like to just play flex where you can just roll down for so many different carries. Oh, Zoe's also a possible carry, I believe, on this board. I think there's a way to fit Zoe in with just Sork, I guess. Yeah. All right, itemization here. Have MR Shred, have Heal Cut, have triple items made. So we're just looking for the best possible LeBlanc items here. Ugh, I mean, Guinsoo Gunblade? That sounds horrible. Shojin Guinsoo and just Super Caster LeBlanc? I assume we're making 2 LeBlanc items here. I mean, Deathcap GS doesn't sound terrible. Deathcap GS? Maybe? AG GS? Deathcap GS? I'm curious to see what his priority is here. Could even go like Archangel GS, I guess. Shojin. Okay, so the Shojin Guinsoo. That was one of the first options we talked about, is like the super caster. I kind of like this with the idea that just LeBlanc is like not utility, but she's kind of utility on this board. You're really just using her to get her cast off so that she gets that extra damage onto the board. You don't really care about LeBlanc herself dealing a lot of damage. I think this makes sense. Gonna get the Mordekaiser in here and gonna get the Blitz Crank onto this board for 4 Dominator. Yeah, looks good. And like I said, the second we found that Elise 2, the Garen came off the board and we played this. What happened here? We cut the Garen and leveled. Okay, so we got 2 units in. Yeah, because I was like, I feel like we have more units in. Yeah, all good. Fighting Rebel +1 here with the Jinx already. This is a comp that people are really high on, and for good reason. Look at this fight, man. Our board is so strong, but just the entire team-wide stun of Rebel +1 is quite gross here. Can you continue to roll here with the idea of playing around something? Ooh, thinking about the form swapper Jace pair here with the idea that Jace 2 is better than you know, a Swain. You would end up losing Conqueror here, but Conqueror is not the end of the world. Also, you would get another unit in. Also, you should actually notice Setsuko's positioning here because he has bulky buddies. He's using this positioning, and I think people have talked about this before, definitely on some like Twitter threads or stuff like that, where the Scion interacts pretty weirdly with bulky buddies. So like the way that Setsuko has Scion positioned here is in between 2 units. Also, that's a Black Rose +1. Yoink. Yep, we can just take that really quick. This is basically a free +1 here. We can just end up cutting the Morgana here and getting something else in. But yeah, you see the Scion here. I believe he benefits from bulky buddies. I think this is obviously Setsuko is Setsuko, so do what he's doing here. But yeah, I think this is exactly how you're supposed to do it. Just put like a fake unit like Scion in the middle of 2 bulky buddies units, and he gets value out of it. Though, yeah, here actually we end up in a weird situation where we don't have Scion in the middle. We have Garen in the middle, but I think it still works. I think Scion just works kind of brokenly with this augment. I'm sure someone in the comments will be like, it works exactly like this, because like, it doesn't, he certainly doesn't turn off bulky buddies like as a 3rd unit, but I think he also benefits from it, is how it works. So like in a spot like this, you can just have him here and another move. But yeah, once again, like he definitely does not turn off bulky buddies, but I think he also gets it. Like he's just kind of broken with bulky buddies. And honestly, you know, thinking back on the pick, he knew that he was playing around Black Rose this game. So that must be the idea, that he's really a huge fan of bulky buddies in Black Rose because of the fact that it works really well with Scion, that Scion just kind of has a broken interaction. Also, 18 HP. This was a scary game, but we made it to potentially the promised land of the top 4. Also, we did end up getting this Dr. Mundo in, which is very nice. This also kind of counteracts the downside of Garen in bulky buddies, where you can't Garenify. Whoa, what is that? I mean, he is level 9, so pretty reasonable to hit at this point. Muerto Kaiser too, huge hits here. Only downside is we don't actually have many items on him. We have the Crown Guard at least, and hopefully we can pick up something here, like a Nashers or Quicksilver looks great. Yep, it's fantastic here. And even gonna move the Gambler's Blade over with the idea being that he's a higher cost unit, like a more startup unit than LeBlanc. It's just such a Setsuko thing to do. Just beautiful. Always making sure his items are on his strongest units. It's just like, I don't know, I feel like this is something that a lot of people take for granted, but it's a small thing that so many people mess up, is forgetting to move their items to the stronger unit in a spot like this. A lot of people would just leave that Gambler's Blade sitting on the LeBlanc for a long time, but he moves it the second that he gets it, and it's a perfect play here. Finds LeBlanc 2 on the roll down as well. Huge stuff for Setsuko here. This board might be good enough to win the game now. Once again, I said, this is one of the highest cap boards in the game, just playing vertical Black Rose and then playing a strong frontline with it. A strong backline with it, kind of flexing the backline. We didn't actually get Scion in front This is the only awkward thing, I guess, about this Bulky Buddy Scion tech is that you kind of want Scion in a defined clump with Bulky Buddies. But with Scion, you really, really want to place him in front of melee carries like that Camille that we were scared of. And not being able to do that feels kind of bad, but it seems like it's going to be fine. He could swap the Scion really quick to the left side, but then the problem is you would turn off Bulky Buddies on the other two units that would now be in a 3 clump here. So kind of tough here. So he's just going to opt to default the Scion middle. And also, I mean, he's got the Scion leaning to the right side here, which is actually kind of scary versus this Camille, but I don't know. His board has so much frontline as long as Scion doesn't troll, but he is actually trolling pretty hard here. Is this enough actually? Oh my God. The Camille with the revive, that was the revive anomaly, right? Though it didn't look like she was losing that much HP, but yeah, we just barely. Ooh. That is another Black Rose +1. The only downside is, oh wait, is Setsuko going to skip it? He's thinking hard. Yeah, I think this is the correct play. It's so crazy, but I think this is absolutely the correct play. Hydra is a way better item than this Gambler's Blade is going to be. And the only upside to having Black Rose +1 here is if you find a Morgana on 9, 15% odds, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to pick up a Morgana here. So yeah, he opts to just play 5 Black Rose instead of 7 when he could have picked 2 +1s. That's actually such a crazy call out from Setsuko, but I feel like it's such a high quality play. I think so many people would have gotten baited by that Black Rose +1, rolled down, not hit, lost this fight, and blamed Mortdog. But Setsuko, he makes it so he doesn't open himself up to the low roll here, actually. That's so smart. Considering Garen over the, or Mbessa over the Garen here, just for the extra stats, it is a lot of resist, so it kind of makes sense. And it's just a Garen one, so we're not actually getting that much value of the extra HP onto Garen. Yeah, I think this is smart. Mbessa here on this board as just another kind of like flex option. His traits do look hilarious. 3 Conqueror, 3 Sorcerer, but that's TFT sometimes. Sometimes you have to play messy traits and you still do well. Mundo, actually, with the Scion carrying this fight, can he get through the rest of this tanky board? Big ult from Elise here. I think it's gonna get there. Is a 3-unit loss. That's not enough to kill Casper, right? Yep, just barely alive. So we're going into stage 7. Oh my God. I guess, by the way, I forgot to say, but happy Thanksgiving to everybody and who celebrates it. Hope you had a lot of yummy turkey and you know, lots of other yummy, delicious things, some desserts. I just brought a huge box of desserts back from my girlfriend's house that kind of looked at me a little strangely because I grabbed 2 giant slices of cake, but I mean, they said take as much as I wanted, so I did. All right, he's thinking about just what his best in is here. Opts to just play Bruiser here for Conqueror, kind of fake in general, so he's just gonna play Bruiser for the extra HP across the entire board, and an extra HP onto an Elise too. I think it makes a decent amount of sense here, and it looks like it's enough. Yeah, an easy dub for Setsuko. Stage 7 though, really fun game, and really beautifully played. I think there are a lot of really small micro decisions in that game that ended up swinging the game, and that's what TFT is all about. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Once again, I'm going to shout out that Metafy is doing a 30% off sale for only a couple more days. So if you ever want to get coaching, now is the time. Link in the description. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.